Recording in progress.
Hello, mabuhay! This is Teacher Lourdes, and this is your course, Methods of Research. Our lesson 4 is Ethical Aspect of Research. Our objectives are discuss the ethical principles for protecting participants and explain the procedure for protecting participants. For the student activity, you will evaluate cases of research misconduct. If you are part of a research team, which of the following would worry you the most? A. Getting participant consent. B. Sharing private data. Or C. Misleading findings. All these answers must concern the researchers because all these answers can affect the validity of your research. And also, it affects the participants of your research. Let's have the lesson proper. The ethical aspect of research. Number one, the ethical principles for protecting participants. In research, it is important that participants are protected of their rights as individuals. This principle acknowledges the autonomy and dignity of all individuals. Researchers must obtain informed consent, ensuring participants understand the study and they voluntarily agree to participate without any coercion. The next one is beneficence. But before I discuss beneficence, I would like to share that I am already having my dissertation in University of the Philippines, Open University, and just last June 13, I asked permission from the National Commission of Indigenous Peoples in Labo, Camarines Norte. I asked permission to conduct my dissertation about preservation of the science, technology of indigenous science and technology of the Manida tribe in Jose Panganiban, Camarines Norte, where I reside. So, before I conduct my research, I need to ask permission from the NICP so that they and I will make sure that the, the Manidit tribe leaders and elders will voluntarily agree to participate in my data gathering without any coercion, and that the data I have acquired will be treated with respect and with privacy or necessary uh, respectful uh, way so that the research study and the participants will not be harmed in any way. Okay, so that's I just would like to share. I just want to share my study with you because right now I am conducting my dissertation. Okay, so now next is beneficence. Researchers must aim to maximize potential benefits while minimizing any possible harm to participants. This includes physical, psychological, social, or legal risks. So, it is important that all the participants will not be harmed in any way as you conduct the research. This includes physical, psychological, or social and legal risk. So, when we conduct our study, it is important that we are respectful and we we show right manners and right conduct to so that our participants, whether they be old or young, they make sure that as students you behave yourselves so that you will not harm anybody. So that's very important. Next one is justice. Justice demands the fair selection of research participants. It ensures that no group bears disproportionate risk or is unfairly excluded from the benefits of research. So, this is also called purposive sampling. So, you intentionally choose your participants, which can answer the questions of your study or the objectives of your study. So, and also you choose the participants that have the same level. So, this is called the inclusion of uh, control or experimental group, which means that all the participants belong to the same level. Okay, so now let's have APA ethical principles. In America, the American Psychological Association outlines five broad ethical principles, including integrity, justice, and respect for rights. These guide researchers in conducting responsible and equitable studies. Okay, so now let's have the ethical principles for research in our country, the Philippines. Of course, we have respect for persons. Okay, we recognize the dignity and autonomy of individuals and requires informed consent, particularly ensuring participants fully understand the research and they volunteer willingly and uh, it provides special protection for vulnerable populations such as indigenous peoples, minors, and persons with disability. And next is the beneficence and non-maleficence, the do no harm principle. And then justice, the same as the American principles. And then the cultural sensitivity and relevance. Research must respect Filipino culture, beliefs, and traditions, and the involvement of indigenous communities require free, prior, and informed consent from the community and compliance with the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act. Okay? And also scientific integrity and accountability. Research should be scientifically sound and conducted honestly. Researchers must be accountable to ethical review boards and funding institutions. And also, uh, we have confidentiality and privacy that follows the Data Privacy Act of 2012. And the governing bodies and guidelines include Philippine Health Research Ethics Board, the National Ethics Committee, Institutional Review Boards or Research Ethics Committee, and the National Ethical Guidelines for Human Research. So these are the principles in the Philippines. So let's continue. Next is the Declaration of Helsinki. This international standard emphasizes the welfare of human subjects above the interest of science and society. It mandates informed consent and approval from ethical review boards before starting any research involving humans. So, in all research, there must be proper consent and approval concerning the ethical review boards. And number two, let's now discuss the procedures for protecting the study participants. The first one is ethical review and approval. Okay, so as I have said before, all research involving human participants must be reviewed and approved by an institutional review board or ethics committee. This ensures that the study is ethically sound and that the participants are adequately protected. Next one is the informed consent. The participants should receive complete and understandable information about the study's purpose, procedures, risks, and benefits. They must voluntarily agree to participate with the freedom to withdraw at any time without penalty. In case of my dissertation, before I conduct my study and gather data, I will sign a Memorandum of Agreement or MOA with the Manila Tribe in Jose Panganiban, Camarines Norte, so that I can gather data, whereas the participants will voluntarily agree and they can have the freedom to withdraw at any time. Okay? And the next procedure is minimization of harm. The researchers must design studies to reduce any risk of harm to participants. This includes using non-invasive methods where possible and implementing safety measures during data collection. So as we have said before, there must be no harm that will come to participants. Next is debriefing and post-study care. The participants must be debriefed, especially if deception was used. Researchers should also provide contact information and support if the study has caused any distress or confusion. So, in case there is included in your study some deception in any way and it has caused distress or confusion, the researcher should provide support and contact information so that there is a post-study care for the participants of your study. Next one is the privacy and confidentiality. The researchers must protect participants' personal data through a secure storage and also limited access and anonymization. It means that the participants must not be named. Breaches of confidentiality can lead to legal and ethical issues. Participants as well as validators should not, their personal data should not be revealed in any way. That's why they are called anonymous. Okay? You will only analyze the answers to your survey questions, and you must not reveal the personal data of your participants. Okay? Next one is equitable selection of participants. The participants should be selected based on the scientific needs of the research, not on convenience or vulnerability. Avoiding exploitation of marginalized groups is a critical aspect of fairness. So, uh, as I have said before, there should be a purposive sampling in which sometimes the researcher don't use purposive sampling but the random sampling. It depends on the research questions. And the third is the scientific misconduct. First one, uh, the scientific misconduct is scientific misconduct must be avoided at all times because uh, these things can affect the results of your study. So this includes fabrication, falsification, plagiarism, scale and causes, impact, okay, and prevention and integrity promotion. So first one is the fabrication. This involves making up data or results entirely. As students, you should never make up data or make up results. It undermines the credibility of research and misleads other researchers and the public. So, as researchers, dear students, you must never fabricate data. Next is falsification. Falsification means manipulating research materials, equipment, or data to misrepresent the results. This damages scientific integrity and may have harmful real world consequences. So, again, you must never falsificate or manipulate research materials, equipment, or data, especially if you conduct a science or experimental study. So that's why there is a control group when you have experimental study so that you will compare the experimental processes to the control group, which do not receive any treatment. So, this means that you must never manipulate your processes so that you can come up with the result that you want. So you must not fabricate or falsify anything. That's why honesty is very important when you conduct research. Next is plagiarism. Using another person's ideas, words, or data without proper attribution is plagiarism. It violates intellectual property rights and disrespects the original author's work. So, when you use other person's ideas, words, or data without proper recognition or you did not put it in your references, this is plagiarism. And it is a criminal case. So you can be incarcerated or makukulong ka if you undergone plagiarism and the person you plagiarized demand you into court. So, you must avoid plagiarism at all times and you must recognize where you get the idea, the word, or the data, or the pictures. So, recognize the link, the author. Okay, that's why we have the references to avoid plagiarism. The next one is scale and process. Scientific misconduct is often driven by pressure to publish, gain funding, or achieve recognition. Though hard to detect, it is a serious issue that affects the reliability of published research. So, it is important that you practice honesty at all times when you conduct research, and do not be pressured by anything because if you practice scientific misconduct, there are laws that punish these activities. Okay. Next is impact. Misconduct can lead to loss of public trust, invalidation of legitimate research, wasted funding, and damage to institutional reputations. In clinical research, it can even endanger lives. So, uh, avoid misconduct at all times because it can, its impact can lead to loss of public trust, invalidation of research, and your funding may be wasted, and it will also damage your reputation. Not only your reputation, but also your institution's reputation. And it can also endanger lives. So let's have the prevention and integrity promotion. Preventive measures include education on research ethics, transparent reporting, peer review, and consequences for unethical behavior. So, promoting a culture of integrity ensures trust and accountability in research. So, at all times, as student researchers, you must maintain your integrity. So, when you say you have integrity, you are honest, you are transparent, and you behave at all times, and that you follow the standard rules and regulations in conducting research and also the ethical uh, standards of conducting research. Okay, so that you will also avoid being sued or being embarrassed by the research community. Okay, so these are our references. Thank you so much for these references. And also, I would like to thank canva.com, ChatGPT, and zoom.com. I used this in the development of this video. So, for your student activity entitled Ethics Under Fire, be the Research Ethics Board. For your student activity, you will group yourselves into 9 or 10 members. And you will choose one case below and follow the directions. You can submit a video of yourselves of 1 to 2 minutes or PowerPoint with voiceover of your group mates. And you will send your output to our Google Classroom in 3 days. For the case A, it's a study on adolescent mental health. This skips parental consent to get honest answers. For case B, a researcher fabricates 30% of survey results to meet a deadline. And the case C, a medical study collects blood samples from indigenous people, but they didn't explain the risk. So this is what will you do after choosing one from the three. You will identify which ethical principles are violated. For example, respect for person, beneficence, justice, and etc. And then you will discuss how the procedure for protecting participants was neglected or bypassed. And then you will decide if you will approve, reject, or revise the proposal. And then the last one, you will suggest corrective actions or alternatives so that you can correct the misdeed. So, this is our lesson about ethics in conducting research. So, this is your teacher Lourdes saying, mabuhay!